Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome back to the southern wing of the Stink Bug Works. I was out yesterday doing perk tests. Oh boy, perk tests. I'm doing some modifications on the equipment as well. I have a field technician that's not as careful as I am with the equipment, so I'm going to take some of the more fragile pieces and rebuild them so that they're ironclad. Yeah, this stuff needs to be ironcladded for this kid to do it. Anyway, I digress. A couple of things to talk about today. I'm thinking of putting the rudder on. Since I have a strut, I'm thinking of putting the rudder on. And here's the deal with hydroplane rudders. With a single push rod, I always like to pull from this side. I would rather have the rod in tension while performing the normal turn. The abnormal turn would be this way, in which case the rod would be in compression. Now, in tension, the rod's not going to stretch very much, but in compression, it could bend. You push both ends and it bends in the middle. So that's why I prefer that, just for more precision in steering. If you're hitting left and deflecting it enough to bend the rod, you probably have other issues at hand. But again, that's my preference. So if I mount it on the right side, it means the servo arm and all that would need to be on the right side. If I mount it here on the left side, the servo can tuck under the deck and the arm can be easily accessible. If you remember what I did with the Porsche, I made a little servo mount. And I think I'm going to use that same 7 kilogram servo. 7 kilograms is more than enough for this. And what I did was I made a plate and then put 2 standoffs on that plate and another plate on top of it, put a bolt through those standoffs and it would clamp down in the servo. And the bottom plate was glued to the boat, and the upper plate, you take off and put the servo in and out. So I could have a servo with the arm up underneath here. I'd have to take the servo out every time I wanted to get at that arm. So if I set it up that way, I would do it so that all the fine-tuning adjustments could be done out at this end. And that's real easy with a quick connect and a push rod going through it and a set screw. That's easy to take up that. So that very well may be the approach I take on this. This is a pretty tall boat. And so the strut wound up really low on the transom, and I imagine the rudder's going to wind up. Well, no, it might be more centered on the transom. I've got plenty of rudder depth that I can do that. We'll have to see. So I'm just thinking aloud here. I've had plenty of success with rudders on this side. 7/8 of my hydroplanes have had them on this side, so I may just opt to do it that way out of ease and simplicity. Other than that, I don't have anything new to report. The delay on mounting the motor is the bolts. If you recall, I'm going to use this and shape it to fit this, drill it for bolts, and then glue this down in, and I can establish the correct angle of dangle. And then once it's tacked in, I'll support it more. There's not going to be any load this way on it because this will take up that load, and there's not going to be any load this way on this because this will take up that load. So I can just have a single glue joint down here. You know, it'll be filled in with milled fiberglass and epoxy. So, you know, it'll be like this. It'll be a nice filled in joint. So it'll have a good fillet. And that'll be that. And then it'll just be a plain old plate coming off out of here that'll be triangular. And it'll just drop in. There you go. And then I'll substitute out this collet, this 4mm collet, which can go down to 0.150. So this 4mm collet will get substituted out for the 5mm collet that's holding my alignment rod. So once again, once this is all glued in, I'll slip this in on the alignment rod. I'll move the motor around to where I can feel the alignment rod is just floating in there. I mean, even if it were loaded at one side, with this being so long as it is and this being a straight section, the alignment's going to be perfect. It'll just slip right in there. And I do have a Teflon tube in there, and I was testing the driveline, and the driveline is smooth as a baby's bottom. So, as you can see, you know, I haven't even bothered cleaning up my workspace. It's still the clutter of crap. But I will work on stuff today. I don't have any perk tests, so I have some work to do on some perk test equipment. I have to cut a number of carbon fiber tubes, but I have one of those little tiny chop saws, and I'll just cut it with that little chop saw. And then I'll probably make these pieces today too. So at least I'll do something boat related. Until then, boys and girls, jet out.